WPTV, West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, Vero Beach. Live from your 24-hour news source, this is Action 5 News at 6.
Good evening once again, everybody. I'm Laurel Sauer.
And I'm Jim Sackett.
Making news tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll tell you why expensive security measures are continuing at the Port of Palm Beach.
While many troops are returning from the Middle East, one Red Cross volunteer is preparing for a trip to Kuwait.
And President Bush gets ready for a visit to Martin County.
Thank you for joining us. First at 6 o'clock this evening, Palm Beach police are now confirming the alleged rape on the Kennedy estate over the weekend was alcohol-related. Action 5's Robin Kish continues your breaking coverage of the story and joins us live from the newsroom with the latest. Robin?
Jim, Palm Beach police say they are more worried tonight about the integrity of their case than the hunger of the news media for a break in the investigation. Detectives will not yet confirm whether a 29-year-old Lake Park woman was indeed raped on the Kennedy compound this weekend, but they say they are vigorously investigating her complaint. Palm Beach police today tried to keep traffic flowing along the narrow streets surrounding the Kennedy's walled oceanfront estate. Meanwhile, detectives worked behind closed doors on the alleged weekend rape case, a case police confirm may have been triggered by alcohol.
There is some evidence of alcohol use prior to the alleged incident that took place at the Kennedy compound. I'm not at liberty right now to elaborate any further on where that alleged alcohol was actually used, but we are stating that there is some alcohol involved in this case.
Police are not saying who is alleged to have been involved and are not ruling out or ruling in one of the Kennedys. Senator Ted Kennedy was among a group spotted among the crowd here at the O Bar in Palm Beach early Saturday morning, and staff at Chuck and Harold say the senator was with several people at the bar Saturday afternoon. But in a statement the senator's press office released yesterday, he said he had absolutely no involvement in the alleged incident. Today, Congressman Joe Kennedy, who was not in Palm Beach last weekend, reacted with surprise.
Well, obviously, it's a very disturbing report, but I don't, have any information about it whatsoever. I don't know who all was there. I think until somebody indicates one way or another as to exactly what happened, then it doesn't really make a lot of sense to be talking about it or trying to bring more attention to it.
Martha Shepard has been the Kennedy's neighbor on Palm Beach for the past 40 years. She says this past weekend there was little activity at 1095 Ocean Boulevard.
Oh, it was quiet. Yes, same as usual. This is a quiet neighborhood.
Easter in Palm Beach has not been a happy time for the Kennedys in years past. In 1984, the holiday brought heartache. A week after family matriarch Rose Kennedy arrived at the Palm Beach mansion, Robert Kennedy's son David died of a drug overdose. Police have not named any alleged suspects in the case, but from what we understand, the investigation just may be focusing on the younger members of the Kennedy family, some of whom may have been staying in Palm Beach as house guests.
Robin, thank you. Robin Kish reporting live tonight from the newsroom. Laurel?
In other news tonight, a West Palm Beach inmate who reportedly collected match heads by the hundreds ended a potentially explosive situation in court today. Christopher Gisani was charged with threatening to discharge a bomb, but pleaded guilty to a lesser charge and was sentenced to time served. His attorney says Gisani was serving time in the Palm Beach County Jail on traffic charges and was collecting the matches as a way of killing time in jail.
According to the authorities, though, the matches that he collected were in such great number that when he had hundreds and hundreds of them, they were put in a little packet that could have blown a hole in the ceiling.
Now, if the charges had not been reduced, Gisani could have faced 15 years behind bars. Accused murderer Stephen Langan was back in court today to find out when he's scheduled for a competency hearing. The Boca Raton man had been on a hunger strike for more than a month earlier this year until a judge ordered he be force-fed in jail. Langan's lawyer has said his client's wish to die by starvation shows he is incompetent to stand trial. The hearing is set now for the 15th. Some trying times for South Florida airports and shipping ports may soon be over with the end of the Persian Gulf War, but that doesn't mean the end of tougher security measures. As Action 5's Mark Alford tells us this evening, security precautions are not ending with the ceasefire.
The Federal Aviation Administration changed it the second day of the war, and it has not been changed back, and they haven't told us when they're going to do it.
Security at Palm Beach International Airport is still causing a few inconveniences for family and friends of passengers. Only those with tickets are allowed down to the gates. Over the weekend, the Federal Aviation Administration did, however, lift its ban on curbside check-in. The number of deputies here has been cut as well, some due not to the FAA policy, but budget cuts. Roughly 20% of the deputies here have been reassigned and replaced with less costly civilian workers.
We're back to our normal strength now, and if they cut back any more, why, it would weaken us quite considerably.
First left, please. First left.
At the Port of Palm Beach, the security has been anything but weakened. In January, security here was beefed up with the hire of 3 new guards and other measures costing the port an added $100,000 a year. Port officials say the tougher security has worked so well that even with the war over and the threats of terrorism diminished, tighter security will remain.
There was been some minor inconveniences in the beginning, but once they got into the routine, it was fine, and we don't see any reason to change it at this point.
2 of the tougher security measures that will remain in place here at the Port of Palm Beach is an all-out ban on taxi cabs. No cabs will be allowed past this security checkpoint at any time into the port. The other is an all-out curfew on the media from dusk till dawn. To pay for the added security, port officials say they'll shuffle the budget a bit. Users of the port will not be asked to defray the cost in any way. Riviera Beach, Mark Alford, Action 5 News.
Mark adds there are no plans to lift security measures at the gates of the airport. Officials still advise arriving earlier than usual to account for any security delays.
Delray Beach police have arrested 2 suspects this afternoon in connection with armed home robberies in Boca Raton, other parts of Palm Beach County and Broward County and Coral Springs. 21-year-old Joseph Smalzer and 18-year-old William Matzker were nabbed at a Delray Beach car dealership as they tried to make their getaway. Authorities say one of the most recent victims identified them.
This robbery that occurred while the subject was at home, and when he came up here to get his vehicle repaired, spotted the 2 guys that had done the robbery at his residence.
Police say the 2 have confessed to other robberies where they have used a shotgun and broken into the homes, and that in Broward County, the suspects fired at one of the residents. Authorities have already recovered several pieces of expensive jewelry from some of the break-ins. Unfortunately, many of those who rob and commit crimes do it to feed their drug habits. For the first time, though, help is on the way for those who are trying to break the cycle of addiction in the south part of Palm Beach County. As Action 5's Rosa Gonzalez tells us, a new treatment center will help those who can least afford to pay for it.
Construction workers are putting on the finishing touches at this Delray Beach Drug and Alcohol Abuse Treatment Center. It is the only facility in the South County area for low-income residents.
Those who can afford to pay will pay. Those who can't, of course, we won't refuse services to anyone due to an inability to pay.
At the 40-bed treatment center, substance abusers will get therapy, family counseling, and treatment to get them back on their feet. Joe is already in the Drug Abuse Foundation's program, and he calls the center a lifesaver.
I would probably still be on the street, and eventually I would have probably picked up a drink or a drug.
To fight and beat the drug war, officials feel it must be a shared community effort. That's why the construction of this facility and the land has been donated through private funds. 1,000 low-income people per month are expected to use the treatment center. It will be the first step for many in recovering from their addictions.
It costs more money to service a client who needs drug treatment in a jail than it does in a community treatment center.
Over the next 2 years, the facilities will be expanded to a $3 million campus. An auditorium and program center will provide outpatient services. By 1993, a halfway house will be up and running. In Delray Beach, Rosie Gonzalez, Action 5 News.
And the center officially opens next Friday. It'll cost about $500,000 to operate, but the state of Florida is picking up the tab for the first year.
A nurse from the Treasure Coast will soon be helping to restore order in war-torn Kuwait City. She leaves tomorrow for Washington. And as Action 5's Tina Conti tells us, the Martin County woman faces an exhausting yet rewarding job.
Where Linda Cantrell is going, there's no running water, no electricity, and no communications. But there are also no nurses. So that's why she's going to Kuwait City.
They've already told me that the hospital is very dirty, the floors are, and not to expect the clean conditions that we have in our hospitals.
Linda is answering the call of the American Red Cross. It is asking for the urgent support of nurses and physicians to help out in Kuwait. The hospital in Kuwait City is in desperate need of help. Linda says before the war, a staff of 300 people worked at the hospital. Today, there are only 24.
Their education level is not like ours, and we'll be helping with regular hands-on bedside nursing, just teaching them how to do things.
Linda joined the Martin County Red Cross because she wanted to travel and to help those in need. But she never expected to go from walking the halls of Florida's hospitals to those in the Middle East.
It's like a dream come true. It's something that I really wanted to do, and finally here's my chance to do it. So I'm very excited about it.
Excited and nervous. But Linda says working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, won't leave her much time to be scared. In Palm Beach Gardens, Tina Conti, Action 5 News.
Still ahead tonight, a Palm Beach County leader responds to the threat of a boycott by black leaders.
And President Bush enjoys a final day of fishing before heading to Martin County.
Home Depot announces the 60-second paint
Study findings.
The nation's chief executive is spending time doing what he likes to do best, fishing and enjoying Florida's great outdoors. Tomorrow, he'll be visiting his mother and perhaps shooting a round of golf. But as Michael Putney reports for the Florida News Network, this was a day for reeling in the big ones.
It was cool and windy this morning when President Bush and his fishing friend, Nicholas Brady, the Treasury Secretary, left the dock of their Isla Morado condominium. Out in the bay, they transferred from Florida Marine Patrol boats to smaller bone fishing skiffs. But conditions here today were not conducive for catching the elusive bonefish.
On any normal day, I'd give President Bush about a 90% chance, but the wind is out of the northeast, about 25 knots right now. And it's blowing up a pretty good storm, and the water gets pretty mixed up, and it's very difficult to pole the boats across the flats. And of course, when you're bone fishing, you fish by sight a great deal.
Barbara Bush, who caught a 4-pound snapper yesterday, called it quits a little before 2 this afternoon. Less than an hour later, the president came in looking windblown and a little out of sorts. If he caught some fish today, he wasn't talking about it. And if he did, he probably released them as he did yesterday. Still, it was a release from the pressures of the Oval Office. Michael Putney, Florida News Network.
Now, the president will be continuing his Florida vacation tomorrow by visiting his mother on Jupiter Island. The time of his arrival is not being released, but we're told he does plan to spend the entire day in our area.
Finally, spend some time instead of just kind of popping in and popping out like you did the last time.
Yeah, a couple of hour trips.
Well, still ahead tonight on Action 5 News, voters go to the polls in Riviera Beach.
And the construction site dangers of falling roof tiles.
The way she moves thrills him. Her special look fills him. And now he's acting strange.
Are you busy tonight?
It's Amore on Matlock NBC Tuesday.
Alert. He was going to talk about that later today. Arts Forecast is next for Stewart, Boynton Beach, and all of South Florida.
You're watching Action 5 News, your 24-hour news source, with Jim Sackett and Laurel Sauer.
11 big hours. Wednesday only. J. Byron's 11-hour sale. Big savings on fashions and accessories for your family. Tomorrow at J. Byron.
It's April. I haven't even started my income tax return.
Don't let April get to you.
Nothing up and down, but towards sunrise tomorrow morning, we might see a few little showers blow ashore. Currently, the wind is out of the northeast at 18, gusting to 31 miles an hour at the National Weather Service on Southern Boulevard. At Port St. Lucie, it's 71 degrees right now. It is 72 at Vero, a little warmer inland away from the water, which again is running about 75, and gusting to 33 miles an hour at this hour at Miami Beach. Skies are partly cloudy. We can see some cloudiness here on the satellite photograph. Off to our east, there's a lot heavier cloud mass there, and there are some rain showers. That's the front that went through Sunday, which gave us the inclement weather. There is another front to our north that will be dropping south, but not quite get here. More importantly, behind it, a big high-pressure area will be moving down off the middle Atlantic coast, and with a clockwise flow of wind, that's really going to be setting up that breeze tomorrow, blowing from the easterly direction, that is from the east, at 20, gusting to 35 miles an hour. Now, tomorrow will be a pretty nice day, except for that. There will be some sun mixed with the clouds. Couldn't have a bad day, of course, for the president coming up, but it is going to be a bumpy ride. And with that wind so strong off the water, there may be a couple of little brief showers blowing in, particularly around sunrise, and then again later in the afternoon. So maybe a little bit of a mixed bag of weather coming up tomorrow. Let's check it out as I see it for tonight. Breezy and mild, especially along the coast, both of those factors. There may be a brief shower late or towards sunrise. The lows 60 in Clewiston, but 70 in Jupiter. A northeast wind at 12, gusting to 24 miles an hour. For tomorrow, a partly sunny kind of day and windy for sure. A brief shower blowing in, but it shouldn't last very long. 77 at the coast, 82 west of the Turnpike, but the wind out of the east gusting up to 35 at the beaches. And a small craft advisory continues. The wind east tomorrow at 15 to 25 knots, 3 to 5 foot seas at the beach. And ahead to the outlook Thursday, windy with a brief shower, 80 and 70. Friday continued windy, 81, 72. Good kite flying weather, but have a very strong
Very
line.
strong string,
Yeah.
right. Into next week with this wind, or are we going to kind of get our systems changed around? And
I will tell you next week.
What's your educated guess today?
I'll tell you next week.
All right. We'll see you at 11.
Okay.
And I won't ask you then. Thank you.
Love that forecast, that long-range forecast, Art. Well, up next in Sports Night, we'll tell you which free agent the LA Raiders have landed. And, of course, the Duke Blue Devils finally take home that championship trophy.
At your South Florida Ford dealers, the rate is right. 1.9% financing or $1,000 cash back on new 91 Ford Rangers. Loaded with over $2,000 in options, so you could save over $3,000. The right rate, 1.9%. The right truck, the 91 Ford Ranger. The right place, your South Florida Ford dealers, right now.
Hi, I'm Hillary Edson.
And I'm Cale Brown.
And moved one by one to the Murakami Museum. The entire move is expected to cost $150,000.
Well, that will do it for us on Action 5 News. The early report. Stay with us now for NBC Nightly News.
And stay with us throughout the evening for news updates from your 24-hour news source. Good night.
The Kurds on the run in Iraq, hundreds of thousands of refugees, and U.S. policy open to sharp questions.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Reporting tonight from NBC News headquarters.